At God's throne, 7 Archangels. Each one is more than a messenger. They are warriors, judges, and guardians of the borders between worlds. They fight battles. They deliver prophecies. They guard secrets hidden from mankind. But if they are 7, why does the church name only 3? Who decided which names should be remembered and which erased from memory? And most of all, what are they truly guarding? Who are the archangels? An archangel is not just a mighty angel. He is a heavenly commander, one who brings a message, but also leads the armies of light against the darkness. In the Bible, only one angel is directly called an archangel, Michael. Jude 1:9 says, Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses and said, "The Lord rebuke thee." Gabriel is far more famous. He came to Mary with the news of Jesus' birth. But in Luke 1:26, he is simply called an angel. In the Book of Tobit, part of the Catholic and Orthodox Canon, Raphael says, "I am one of the 7 angels which stand before the Lord." 7, not 1, not 3, 7. So who are they? The ancient Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text quoted by the early church fathers, lists them as Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Ragwell, Sariel, and Remiel, each with his own mission. But here's the strange part. Traditions differ. The Catholic Church recognizes 3, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. The Orthodox Church names 7, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Sariel, Jagudiel, and Barachiel. Among the Copts, another 7, including Sariel, Zadkiel, Seraphiel, and Ananiel. Among the Ethiopians, again 7, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Ragwell, Phanuel, and Remiel. Why so much variation? Why are some names lifted in liturgy, while others vanish from memory? We'll meet each one soon. But first, where did this heavenly 7 come from? Michael, who is like God. His name sounds like a question, but it's a challenge, not a doubt. Who is like God? It carries the logic of heaven. No one compares, no one comes close. Michael is the commander-in-chief. Every time Scripture shows a spiritual war, he steps in first. Revelation 12:7. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. This isn't poetry. It's a chronicle of a conflict on an eternal level. But even in battle, Michael doesn't speak on his own. Jude 1:9. He didn't dare bring a slanderous accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuke thee." He doesn't speak from power, he speaks from order. Not a punisher, a carrier of divine will. Daniel 10:13. Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. He doesn't demand worship. He shows up to support, quietly, precisely, with heaven's clarity. In icons, Michael wears armor, sword and shield in hand. Under his feet, a serpent, crushed. That's not just imagery. It's a sign of final victory. He stands on the boundary between light and darkness, between God's plan and any attack from evil. When it feels like no one's there, maybe he's already on post. Gabriel, God's strength. Gabriel doesn't come with a weapon. He comes with a word, but that word strikes like lightning in the dark. God's strength, that's what his name means. And it's this strength that breaks the silence between God and man. Daniel 8:16. I heard a man's voice. Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. He came not to frighten, but to explain. Luke 1:19. I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God. He delivered the message to Zechariah that John the Baptist would be born. Then to Mary. Luke 1:26-31. The angel Gabriel was sent to a virgin and said, "You shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus." He is more than a messenger. He stands by the veil, and when he appears, it means God has spoken. In icons, Gabriel is often dressed in white. In his hand, a scroll or a staff. Sometimes a lily, a sign of the purity in his message. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply says what can't be undone. And if you've asked for a sign, waited for an answer, maybe it was his footsteps you heard in the silence. Raphael, God heals. His name speaks for itself. Raphael means God heals. He doesn't command armies. He walks beside the weary. He appears when the journey is long and the soul is vulnerable. Raphael is one of the 7 angels who stand before the Lord. Tobit 12:15 says, "I am Raphael, one of the 7 angels who stand in the presence of the Lord." He travels with young Tobias, protects him from the demon Asmodeus, and later heals the blind eyes of Tobit with the organs of a fish. Tobit 6:8 explains, "Burn the liver and heart. The smoke drives out demons. Apply the gall to his eyes, and he will see again." Raphael reveals himself only when the mission is complete. He's not a spotlight miracle. He is God's help, hidden in the ordinary. In icons, he carries a staff, a flask of water, and a fish, symbols of journey, protection, and healing. He doesn't speak loudly. He simply stays close. And if you feel lost, or wait to be restored, he may already be near you. Uriel, God's light. Uriel means God's light, not a soft glow, but fire that exposes what's hidden and reveals what must be seen. Though not named in the Bible directly, he appears in 1 Enoch 21-8 as the first of 7 archangels. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the world and over Tartarus. He watches over the earth and even what lies beneath it. He holds the line where order turns to chaos. Some early church fathers called him the angel of prophecy. In the book of 2nd Esdras, Uriel helps Ezra interpret the visions God gave him in secret. Uriel doesn't just witness, he explains, not with comfort, but with clarity. In sacred art, he often holds a flaming sword, a torch to light the truth, or a scroll with God's message. He comes when knowledge is needed, when truth must rise above emotion. Ragwell, friend of God, or justice of God. His name reads 2 ways, friend of God, or God's justice. He's mentioned in 1 Enoch 24. Ragwell brings vengeance on the world and the luminaries who transgress the order. He watches over stars, over spirits, over those who break boundaries. His mission is to restore order. He doesn't punish, he rebalances. He's not a sword, he's a scale. Ragwell doesn't stand at the center of liturgy. He's barely mentioned in sermons. But he's the one who reminds us there's no chaos in God. There is order. Violation is seen. Balance is restored. In icons, he holds a scale or a book. The scale means truth. The book means judgment. And if the world around you starts to realign, if broken pieces shift into place, he may already be near. Sariel, Prince of God, or assigned by God. Sariel is one of the least known, but his name says a lot. Prince of God, appointed by God. 1 Enoch 27 says, Sariel is set over the spirits who sin in the wilderness. He oversees. He's placed over the fallen, those who cross the line between heaven and earth. He doesn't condemn. He doesn't destroy. He contains. In Coptic and Gnostic tradition, he's the angel of exile, or of restraint. He stands on the threshold to make sure darkness doesn't return. There are few icons of him, but when they exist, he holds chains or a staff, symbols of control. Sariel doesn't fight, he isolates. And if you've ever felt evil hit an invisible wall, unable to break through, perhaps he was standing there. Remiel means God shall raise, or God's compassion. He is an archangel whose name brings hope. God shall raise, God's compassion. 1 Enoch 28. Remiel is set over those who rise. He is not an angel of vengeance. He doesn't sound the end. He waits and lifts. In the Apocrypha, Remiel guides the souls of the dead. He walks with them until the day of resurrection. He doesn't close the book, he turns the page. In Byzantine art, he holds a lamp still burning, a sign that the light has not gone out. If you've ever felt that death is not the final door, maybe a hand is already opening it from the other side. If you look only at the Canon, it all begins with one, Michael, the only one the Bible directly calls an archangel. Michael the archangel contended with the devil. In the Book of Daniel, he's called one of the chief princes and the protector of the people. He appears where war breaks out, where destiny is decided. The second name is Gabriel, but he is not called an archangel. He comes as a messenger to Daniel, to Zechariah, to the Virgin Mary. He speaks, but his rank is never said. Raphael appears only in the Book of Tobit. It's canonical for Catholics and Orthodox, but absent from the Protestant Bible. I am Raphael, one of the 7 who stand before the Lord. This is the first time it's said. There are 7 archangels. The full list is given in 1 Enoch, an apocryphal book, but respected by early Christians. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Ragwell, Sariel, Remiel. Later, in 2nd Esdras, another archangel appears, Uriel. He reveals mysteries of time to the prophet. These are texts that are read, but not always part of the canon. At the same time, liturgical tradition is born. In Orthodoxy, the archangels' names are fixed in prayers and icons. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Seraphel, Jegudiel, Barachiel. The Catholic Church recognizes only 3, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. Since 2002, the Vatican banned all other names from liturgy because they're not confirmed in the canon. Copts and Ethiopians chose their own way. Among the Copts, Sariel, Seraphel, Zadkiel, Ananiel. Among Ethiopians, Phanuel, Remiel, and others. What do the theologians say? John of Damascus. Archangels differ not in nature, but in task. Augustine. Archangels are those who command other angels. Thomas Aquinas. They link heaven and earth. They carry a special mission, so the image takes shape, not born in one chapter, but grown from scripture, tradition, apocrypha, and liturgy. And in every tradition, it speaks its own way. Archangels are not just a Christian idea. The image of these heavenly beings appears in Judaism, Islam, and even in Kabbalah and Gnosticism. But each tradition has its own picture, its own names, its own role. In Judaism, the chief archangel is Michael. He appears in the Tanakh, in the Book of Daniel, a great prince who stands for the sons of your people. Michael is the defender of Israel, the spiritual protector of the nation. He enters the battle when danger threatens the people. Other archangels appear later, in texts outside the Tanakh's canon, especially in the Book of Enoch, where Uriel, Raphael, and Remiel are named. In Christianity, the view depends on denomination. In Islam, archangels also play a major role. Gabriel is Gabriel. He delivered the words of the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. Mikael is the counterpart of Michael. He is responsible for rain, harvest, and earthly blessings. Israfil is the archangel of the trumpet. He will call out on Judgment Day. Azrael is the angel of death. His status is debated, but he is often called an archangel as well. In mystical schools, archangels become something greater. In Kabbalah, they are linked to the Sephirot and cosmic powers. In Gnosticism, to spiritual realms. There, Uriel means light, Raphael, healing, Ragwell and Sariel, strength and judgment. The names change, the lists do not match, but the essence is the same. An archangel is not just a messenger from heaven. He is a guardian, a warrior, a channel of God's will. And that is what unites such different traditions. Archangels are not just ancient figures, they are still near. In culture, in icons, in personal stories and prayers. In popular culture, Michael and Gabriel appear the most. Michael is a warrior, wearing armor, with a sword, defeating the dragon. His image is a symbol of victory over evil. Gabriel is a messenger, sometimes gentle, sometimes strict. He comes when something must change. You can find them in movies, shows, comics, and games. Sometimes they follow the biblical image. Sometimes they become heroes with fictional stories. But the essence remains. They are forces that act in critical moments. In religious practice, people still pray to the archangels. In Orthodoxy, Michael is asked for protection. Gabriel, for good news. Raphael, for healing. In Catholicism, there is a special prayer to Archangel Michael. It is read in moments of spiritual danger, and in some modern movements, archangels are even called on in meditation, as guardians of inner peace and order. As symbols, the archangel is a boundary between fear and faith, between light and darkness. He does not bring chaos, he sets a barrier against evil. Each archangel is given a mission, and that helps a person find order in what is unseen. 7 archangels, 7 gates, 7 forms of defense, 7 images of heavenly will, 7 archangels. Their names echo from the depths of time, sometimes clear and solemn, sometimes whispered in apocrypha and prayer. We do not know everything. Some names are forgotten, some are forbidden, but the purpose of an archangel is not fame. It is to be there when needed. They appear when boundaries collapse. When a person cannot stand alone, they do not demand worship. They simply carry out the will.